Can you imagine living in a place built for 600, but packed with over 2,000? Welcome to South Cotabato Jail, a crumbling fortress hidden deep in the humid belly of the Philippines. Inside, time doesn't pass. It suffocates. There are no cells, only bodies pressed against concrete. Sweat whispers and eyes that have forgotten the sky. Here, prisoners don't just serve time, they govern it. The warden's authority ends at the gate. Beyond that, a shadow government run by inmates where every breath is a negotiation. It feels like a world apart, but it's real, brutal, and it exists right now. This is not just a prison. It's a kingdom built on chaos.
I'm really curious to know why you are here.
It's like basically stealing cars.
How many cars have you stolen in your life?
More than 100.
What did you do? 511.
Yeah, 511. 5 is for selling drugs and 11 is for an user.
Why?
And here
Because
for murder.
Murder?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
In Australia, I have an arrest warrant for conspiracy to import cocaine from South America to Australia.
Number 1. The broken justice system. Somewhere in the southern stretches of the Philippines, far from the tourist brochures and golden beaches, lies a hidden world made of concrete heat. To understand what's going wrong inside, we have to start outside the walls. As of the year 2025, the Philippines is home to over 115 million people. It's a country bursting with young talent, resilience, and cultural pride. But it also faces persistent hurdles, especially in terms of inequality. While some thrive in skyscrapers and shopping malls, others struggle in cramped alleyways, earning just enough to make it to the next day. And where imbalance grows, so does a kind of quiet crisis. One of the most urgent issues the country has battled for decades is the widespread circulation and misuse of harmful substances, items that offer a temporary escape, but often referred to in local slang as shabu or other street. In 2016, the national government launched a sweeping campaign to address this situation head-on. It was a bold move, aiming to resolve the problem in just 6 months. And the results have been more complex than anyone anticipated. According to official sources, over 6,000 individuals lost their lives during enforcement actions. Yet independent human rights groups estimate that the true number might be much higher, possibly reaching 20,000. Many of these cases involved no formal charges, no trial, just sudden disappearances and unanswered questions. Those who weren't lost were detained. By early 2025, more than 220,000 people had been taken into custody as part of this campaign. While some may have had clear ties to illegal activities, many were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Some were battling personal struggles. Others were misidentified. This led to a crisis few saw coming: a massive overcrowding of detention centers across the country. Today, many facilities are operating at more than 400% their intended capacity. Detention is limited. Privacy is non-existent. And then, there's South Cotabato, tucked away in the tropical landscape of Mindanao.
Mahirap kung ano, kasi di ka makatulog, may sakit.
As of this year, it houses over 2,000. That's more than 3 times its maximum capacity. In one dormitory, 70 people may be packed into a space no larger than a class. It feels like a repeat of the last, except a little heavier, a little more uncertain. And this is only the beginning. Our Duftain was Number 2. Life in an overcrowded prison. If you ask someone what a prison looks like, they might picture iron bars, a few cells, maybe a yard for exercise. But inside South Cotabato Jail, those assumptions fall apart fast. This isn't just a building where freedom ends, it's where space ends, where air becomes currency, and where structure. Well, that's an illusion. Let's start with how the place is organized, or rather, how it tries to be. From the outside, South Cotabato Jail appears compact, the kind of place built for small-town cases and short-term stays. In fact, it was originally constructed to accommodate just over 600 people. That's about the size of a mid-sized school. But over the years, as the number of detainees ballooned across the country, this facility didn't expand, it just got fuller. And there's no sign of the numbers slowing down. So, how do you organize life in a space that's triple its capacity? The short answer, you don't. You improvise. Cells here are more like common rooms. Most of them have no bars, just walls and a single entry point. A room meant for 10 now holds 5. 6, even 7 times that number. There are no beds, only blankets and flattened cardboard boxes that serve as thin barriers between human bodies and the bare concrete floor. But perhaps more challenging than the lack of space is the lack of time. Not time in the usual sense, clocks still tick, but time to move, to breathe, to just be alone. Every moment is shared. Brushing your teeth, shared faucet. Eating, shared dish. Sleeping, shared floor. Privacy is no longer a right, it's a memory. Then there's the heat. South Cotabato sits in a tropical region, so temperatures rarely drop below 30 degrees Celsius. Inside the jail, that number climbs even higher. With so many people packed together and only limited airflow, the air inside feels thick, like walking into a greenhouse with no exit. Inmates often fan themselves with scraps of cardboard. Some hang wet towels over windows in the hope of catching a breeze. But nothing really helps. The heat settles into the skin and stays there like a second layer. Water, too, is unpredictable. Some days the taps run. Some days they don't. And when they don't, people queue up for a shared pump, often taking turns in silence. The water isn't filtered. It's drawn straight from underground wells, which may contain bacteria rust and other invisible threats. Those who can afford it buy bottled water. Those who can't, adapt. Hygiene becomes both a challenge and a choice. With limited access to soap, shampoo, or even clean clothes, many rely on shared supplies if they're lucky enough to have them. Bathrooms are few and often shared by dozens of people at a time. There's no guarantee of working drainage or lighting. And when something breaks, it usually stays broken. But perhaps the most unsettling part isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. With so many people sharing tight quarters, illness spreads fast. Respiratory issues are common. Skin infections, stomach problems all appear without warning. And while tuberculosis remains one of the biggest concerns in overcrowded facilities, many cases go undiagnosed simply because there's not enough staff to check. Medical care. It exists in theory. There's usually a small infirmary stocked with basic supplies. But with thousands of people and only a handful of trained staff, it's hard to keep up. Most people wait days, even weeks, for something as simple as a checkup. And when medicine runs out, they turn to whatever alternatives they can find, including herbal remedies passed down from cellmate to cellmate. Still, through all of this, the structure holds barely, not because of the walls, not because of the rules, but because of routine. Even in chaos, people find rhythm. Mornings blur into afternoons marked by the sound of plastic cups clinking, bare feet shuffling, and distant prayers being whispered. In South Cotabato Jail, survival isn't about strength or smarts. It's about adjustment, learning to live in a space that was never meant to hold so many for so long. Number 3. Power and prison hierarchy. Behind the thick walls of South Cotabato Jail Authority doesn't wear a uniform. It doesn't carry a badge. and it definitely doesn't sit in an office. Here, power has a different shape, and it lives among the inmates. There are only about 20 official guards assigned to this overcrowded facility. That's one officer for every 100 people. In a city, that ratio would be unthinkable. In South Cotabato, it's the norm. So how does order survive in a place that defies logic? The answer lies in an underground structure, a prison within the prison. A system built not by the government, but by the detainees themselves. Over time, they've created a complex chain of command to fill the gaps where formal oversight fails. Some call it a shadow government. Others call it survival. At the top of this pyramid is a man known only as El Presidente. He's not elected. He's not appointed. His power comes from reputation connections and, most importantly, resources. Often, El Presidente is someone who already had influence before arriving at the jail. Maybe he was a businessman. Maybe he had ties to powerful groups. Inside that past becomes currency. He oversees the entire inmate population from conflict mediation to distributing responsibilities. But no leader works alone. El Presidente is surrounded by a group of marshals' trusted enforcers who act as both guards and bodyguards. Think of them as his inner circle. They're not just muscle, they are managers. They make sure rules are followed, that disputes are settled quietly, and that no one disrupts the delicate balance inside. If a new inmate steps out of line, it's the marshals who step in first. Then, at the next level down, you'll find the cell leaders, or what inmates call dorm chiefs. Each dormitory housing dozens of individuals is overseen by one of these chiefs. They're responsible for managing the basic needs of their group, organizing cleaning schedules, resolving fights, deciding who sleeps where, and even helping distribute supplies if and when they arrive. It's a tough job, often handed to those with leadership skills, or simply those bold enough to take charge when no one else will. What's remarkable is how stable this inmate-created system can be, and how deeply the official prison administration depends on it. With only a handful of guards on duty at any given time, it's not about trust, it's about necessity. And for the guards, the job is relentless. They work long shifts in tough conditions, facing an inmate population 10 times their number. Many earn less than a security guard at a private mall. Some have limited formal training. Others admit they've learned more from the inmates than they ever did from manuals. The unwritten rule is simple. If the internal leadership keeps things calm, the guards let them operate. Of course, this kind of system comes with its own risks. Power can be abused. Favors can be bought. And for those without influence or allies, justice inside the jail can be harsh and one-sided. Stories circulate of newcomers being extorted, forced to pay for a spot to sleep, or protection from violence. Sometimes, even access to basic needs like clean water or medication is controlled by those. Learning the hierarchy is just as important as learning the law. Because inside these walls, knowing who's really in charge can be the difference between. Number 4. Daily survival inside the jail. In South Cotabato Jail, time doesn't tick, it drags. Across the Philippines, around 65% of people held in jail as of early 2025 are still waiting for trial. They have not been convicted yet. They wait behind bars sometimes for months, sometimes for years. And in that waiting, something breaks. Inside South Cotabato, many detainees share the same uncertainty. Some have been waiting over 2 years just to hear their charges formally read. The delay is not because of the system, a lack of public defenders, and a backlog of tens identity. And in a place like South Cotabato Jail, waiting is its own kind of punishment. Number 5. Mental strain and lost time. Not all punishment comes with a sentence. In the Philippines, an overwhelming number of detainees are held not because they've been convicted, but because they're still waiting for their day in court. As of early 2025, over 65% of people in jails across the country are in pretrial detention, legally innocent, yet locked away sometimes for months, even years. And in South Cotabato Jail, that waiting feels endless. Delays in court proceedings are common due to case backlogs limit scrap paper. Inside, he writes the same thing each day. Still here. Then, these become lifelines in an otherwise suspended reality. But not everyone holds on. Human rights monitors have raised alarms over the rising mental health toll across detention centers. Without reform, experts warn, the system will not only punish crime, it will also quietly punish poverty from and mind delay. Because when justice stalls, it's not just liberty that's lost, it's time identity, and sometimes even the will to keep going. And that's the silent sentence no one talks about. Number 6. Visitation Day and the Hope It Bridge Deeper. A reflection of a justice system overwhelmed, a human rights structure stretched too thin, and lives suspended in a limbo of waiting, hoping, and surviving. What was once designed to hold 600 now holds over 2,000. Inside overcrowding isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, and systemic. The daily struggles, the invisible hierarchies, the endless delays in trial, they all point to a need far greater than resources. There's always a story waiting to be heard.